Hey everybody, it's your girl, Miss J from DCSC Talks. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to all social media platforms, and let's talk about it. Today we'll get into some quick updates on Takeoff, and then I'll also be discussing another young lady who was murdered in front of her two children in Washington, D.C. Before we get into it, I want to go ahead and give my disclaimer that this video is for education and entertainment purposes. It falls under the Fair Use Act, and everything in this video is alleged, and it comes from my perspective based off of information and facts that were given. So unfortunately, Takeoff parents are at odds, if you would say, in regards to his estate. We know that he was 28 years old, he didn't have any children, and he was not married. It's estimated that his estate is worth over $26 million, and because he didn't have a will in the state of Georgia, all of the assets go to the next living relative, which would be his mom and dad. Now, there's some media out there that his dad wasn't involved in his life, and that he played a very minimum role. So it's just sad, and I encourage everybody, if you don't have a will, if you don't have something written out, I don't care if you're rich or poor, if you have any kind of assets like a home, cars, jewelry, whatever, and you have children, or if you don't have children, please write it down somewhere, put it in writing, because, oftentimes when family members die unexpectedly and they don't have a will and they are well off, then that does cause conflict and tension. So I'm praying for their family that they do not let their grieving, so that is a heightened emotional state. And then on top of that, to have so much money out there, and it could very easily tear a family apart. So that is going to be an ongoing story with the parents. And so we're going to go ahead and get into some other information. So we know that Migo Band's full statement came out, and according to Migo Band's, and it's alleged off the court documents, that he did admit to firing a weapon, but he said that he didn't know what caliber of weapon that he had. I honestly find that hard to believe, because whether you carry a concealed weapon or if you just carrying a weapon out there, if you want a 38 or 40 caliber, you usually know the caliber of weapon. So that's a little bit awkward, but as far as Migo Bands is concerned, I think he did what he was supposed to. I think it was legitimate that he gave a statement just off the fact that his relationship with Quavo and him and Takeoff. I don't think that that he should have withheld certain information. And also in the fact that you got to remember, when everything first happened, everybody was trying to come out and say that Migo Bands was the one that killed Takeoff. So a part of him giving him his statement, and my perspective, is that he wants to clear his name, in addition to help the family get a resolution to everything that's going on. So DJ Pat will go to court on Wednesday, and a lot of people are waiting on information of was a lot of people are throwing out different conspiracies, was he a scapegoat? Is it a conspiracy? Was he sent by the Prince family? But I think you got to put some of the facts together based off some of the statements in the court documents that were put out, that with the altercation with Migo Bands and Quavo and Lil Cam, who was DJ Pat shooting at? Because if the altercation was with Migo Bands and Quavo and Lil Cam, then why was DJ Pat shooting at all? And secondly, Takeoff was in the direction of Lil Cam. Was he shooting at Lil Cam? But in a way that don't make sense, because all of the guys kind of hang out together. And if all of these guys that are mob ties, why would they be shooting at each other if they frequently do events? So it doesn't really make sense about the conspiracy and the scapegoat part, because if he was shooting and didn't mean to shoot Takeoff, then that means that he was shooting at one of his associates or friends. And, that too has yet to be explained. So Lil Cam was another suspect. He was arrested for a handgun charge. He was not arrested for felony murder. It's alleged that it will just be the handgun violation because he was seen on camera. But if you read the court documents, Lil Cam was to the right of Takeoff. They say the bullet entries came from the left side. So in a sense, it makes sense of why Little Cam haven't been charged with felony murder allegedly, because even though he had a weapon, and let's say even if he shot a weapon, we'll go to that far and say, okay, allegedly he did shoot his weapon. He was still on the wrong side of him based off of the medical examiner report saying that the bullet entries came from the left side. Okay, so let's talk about Shakur Stevenson. I did a video on Shakur Stevenson, was his involvement. And my perspective in all of this is alleged, and it is coming from the court documents and the videos, etc., that nowhere on the videos or anybody, I don't think, is alleging that Shakur Stevenson had a weapon. However, in a lot of states and the legalities in Texas may be different, but the hand of one is the hand of all. So if you out with your buddy and he kills somebody and you leave with your buddy and you never go to the authorities, which does not happen a lot in the black community anyway, but if you don't, and because this is a high profile case, then he could very well face potential legalities such as things like obstruction of justice, etc., etc. And I say that allegedly, and in the event that Shakur Stevenson is not cooperating with the authorities, because I mean, it's apparent that he has some knowledge. I'm not going to say that he has any kind of involvement, but you have some kind of knowledge because you rode with the shooter and you left with the shooter. So yes, Shakur Stevenson does have some explaining to do to the Houston Police Department, because you got to make it make sense. And then the other co-actors that was named were Mike Prince and Christopher Watkins. And I think a lot of people are forgetting that there were two other people that were shot, and nobody has been charged with the attempted murder or whatever the cases may be, assault alleged. So you do still have two people out there. They have not upgraded or added any additional charges to Lil Cam or DJ Pat. And this is, from my perspective, that it is highly possible that Mike Prince or Christopher Watkins may be charged with Quavo's assistant and the young lady that was also shot, or one of the other two, DJ Pat, or Lil Cam, may have charges that's upgraded. Just because we don't see it now, and again, I always say, a lot of people think that like the CIS on TV, but it doesn't always happen that quickly. So that will be interesting, because I'm pretty sure, and again, this is alleged, that they're not going to just allow the people that shot the other two victims get away just because they got the person that killed Takeoff. So I want to end the video with the young lady on the screen, Farge Vallejos. She was found murdered in her car on December the 2nd in Washington, D.C., in Southeast Washington, D.C. But the tragic part about the story is that her 2-year-old and her 8-year-old was in the car with her. Her 8-year stated that I saw mommy get murdered. So if you have any information into the case, please contact the DC Police Department. They do have a $25,000 reward out there for anything that could help them get closer to the person that murdered this young lady. This is your girl, Miss J from DCSC Talks. Again, please like and subscribe on all social media platforms, and I'll continue to bring facts, love, and truth.